Hello, my name is Joseph Percy, call me JP for short, and today I will be doing an overview of the play called The Hungry Woman. A simple overview of the play is a playwright written by Sherry Moraga. This playwright was written by Moraga in 1995, but it received its first stage reading on April 10th, 1995 at the Berkeley Repertory Theater. The play is essentially this dystopian play that's very similar to the original Greek mythology Medea, but it essentially reimagines it from like a Mexican culture mythology perspective. And it's a two-act play. It's not a short play. It has very, very long scenes. Act one of the play, in terms of the overview of the act, its central focus resolves around Medea, a mother, and essentially like the paternal fear that she has. Um, she has a son to her ex-husband, Jason, and her son's name is Chakmul. And this paternal fear essentially stems from not wanting Chakmul to be corrupted and perverted by her ex-husband's or his father's ideology and power and rule, essentially because Jason, her ex-husband, is this authoritative figure of Atslin, and his interpretation of how it should be ruled is something that contradicts her identity, which we later learn throughout the play. There's another political aspect to this play as well. Atslin works as a patriarchal government, society, essentially where the men are viewed as the highest form of authority and power. They rule over everything. The eldest male or the father represents the head of the society. And plus, this essentially ties into Medea's identity crisis. Plus, this play works as a post-apocalyptic setting where the U.S. was destroyed in this ethnic civil war, and now it's split into two territories: White America, Greenlandia, and Atslin. Another political theme, which once again ties into Medea's identity conflict, is that this play really works as a direct attack against patriarchal or just oppressive systems in general. Medea is a queer woman of color, and she is marginalized and exiled because this system of power limits her and contradicts her identity, and it tries to construct her to these straight sexist gender roles. In terms of the characters introduced in this play, Medea, she's a Chicana lesbian whose once again main struggle stems from identity. Of course, this is obviously a result from being a resident from Atslin, where she was exiled because of her queer identity. Jason is the ex-husband of Medea. He's a walking contradiction to what everything Medea stands for and represents. He holds the authoritative power in Atslin and also wants to bring their son Chakmul into that ideology. Chakmul is the son of Medea and Jason. He's sort of a victim. He's a stand-in between the two, one of his mother's exile and rebellion, and also he has a desire to follow his father's footsteps. So he really serves as a stand-in between the two, and he's considering it, which actually plays into Act 2. Act 2 of the play, some key points. Medea essentially confronts her son, Chakmul, who wants to participate in this ritual called the Sun Dance, which is something that his father is establishing in the New Atslin. Medea, obviously, of course, believes that the ritual is misogynistic, it's distorted, and will eventually pervert their son and create him into like this agent of male domination. It ultimately results in an act of violence where Medea kills Chakmul, and the play kind of throws that in, tries to make the audience believe that this is some noble sacrifice that Medea makes in order to stop her son from becoming this twisted, misogynistic man, perverted and corrupted. But the play also introduces us to Medea's desire in this act. She also has the desire to create this new adaptation of Atslin, where concepts like being queer or lesbian and things of that nature is welcome in this environment. It grounds itself in queer nationalism and lesbian culture, which is a contradiction to everything that her husband stands for. How these scenes are relevant to identity. Once again, the play in of itself is really a testament to identity. For example, intersectionality. It really highlights the struggles of different archetypes of women from different cultures, and how they're really limited and represented by these oppressive systems. Medea's development within the play also serves as a theme to identity, specifically because she's a queer woman in a patriarchal society and government. It's one thing that the play really does is it teaches the audience how and why it's a good thing to embrace your identity. And the play shows really a lot of love and representation to the Mexican Aztec culture. It's a play that reimagines the Greek mythology, still keeps a lot of elements, like for example, Medea killing her son or Medea killing her lover, things of that nature. But it also allows indigenous roots to combat against oppression, which nowadays in modern times is something that, and not even just modern times, even back then, is something that a person could base their identity on. Culture.